right, everybody, this is Aaron Breitman from the Scarlet Faithful. A little bit after Rutgers 27-21 loss to Michigan State. I had to double duty today. I had to watch the end of the men's basketball game, which just ended. I'll have another reaction video coming out right after this on that. But talking about football, disappointing, self-inflicted, maddening, all words that kind of come up top of my head after this one. So ironic on a day where the offense finally has a good game. Really good. I only scored 21 points, but they had 460 yards total offense, actually outgained Michigan State. They were 8 of 16 on third down conversions. Gavin Wimsatt made another, 2 steps forward. I don't know. He certainly is making strides. I forget his completion percentage off the top of my head, but I believe he was 17 for 20 of 34, 20 of 34 for 236 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 turnovers. He missed some throws. His accuracy was a little, off at times. But listen, he's making strides. And this Michigan State defense is, they were 12th in the Big Ten coming in, basically. I think in most categories, at least total yards and scoring, I believe. But, he played well against not a great defense. And that's, a step forward for him, for sure. On the road, windy conditions, tough conditions. I was really, really impressed overall with how he's coming along. I think that's, the biggest positive you could take away from this game. Obviously, it helps when you can run the football. Rutgers did that today. Kyle Monungai, what a performance. It was about 160 yards. I just wrote it. I have my recap out, but it was 156 yards, 162 yards, something like that. He averaged over 6.8 yards a carry, which is impressive. I don't know. I'm kicking myself for not mentioning it before the game, but I feel like maybe playing against his former high school teammate, Jalen Berger, who had a good game for Michigan State, both at Don Bosco. Previously, I don't know, he just had an extra pep in his step today. He was fired up, and he ran with authority and an urgency that we'd love to see all the time. The offensive line did a good job too of creating some holes. We'll get to them in a minute, don't worry. Phenomenal day from Monungai. You get Wimsatt's best performance of his career, and you lose. Because the strengths of this team, defense and special teams, had bad days. Defense gave up 456 yards. Michigan State offense is not good. They were 12th coming into in the Big Ten coming into this game. They ran at will. Peyton Thorne threw for 260 yards. I think Michigan State averaged over 13 yards of completion. I believe they averaged 6 yards a carry. Those are gaudy numbers for an offense that's not great. And Rutgers defense, I don't know. Is this game 10, mid-November? Here we are, and is the defense exhausted once again in another season, which they have, year after year after year? I don't know. I'm not making an excuse for them, but it was really disappointing to see them. If they had played at a level they had played in a lot of other games, I think Rutgers would have won this game. Special teams, you had the field goal block. Jude McAtamey, late in the game, 39-yarder was blocked. And then the punt team had a chance to block a punt early in the game. I don't know how they missed it. They missed it by a hair, literally. And there's just no return game in the special teams either. So, moving on, though, penalties. 14 penalties in this game. A lot of holding calls on the offensive line. There was another late hit by the defense on a drive that was over. It was third down, and Michigan State offense was going off the field, and another late hit. I think that's at least the third time it's happened this season. That's an inexcusable penalty. It keeps happening. 14 penalties. One even cost a holding call. Cost a Wimsatt touchdown late in the game to Sean Ryan. That was actually, fortunately, Wimsatt completed a touchdown to Shameen Jones soon after, crazy pass and catch in double coverage. So it didn't cost them, but still, it's maddening. I don't know another word to say it, but the penalties. They've been averaging like 8 a game all year, and they've had games last week they only had 5, but again, those 2 against Michigan really cost them. And I think today was a huge step backwards for 14 penalties. How do you win a football game with 14 penalties. And then my last kind of rant point, I thought the coaching at the end of the first half was miserable. I don't understand. I'm sure Shiano's going to answer for it in the post game. I'm not sure what he's going to say. I'm guessing they wanted to play conservatively. They didn't want to put extra pressure on Wimsatt. They wanted to protect him. Going into half, down 14-7, you get the ball back to start the second half. But Rutgers was running the ball at will. And that was my other gripe with the coaching staff this game. I think they should have run it more than they even did because Michigan State could not stop them. And I just think that was a missed opportunity. But at the end of the first half, the clock management, you don't call timeouts. You have 2 timeouts left. You let the clock run down. You're moving the ball, but it's like you're not going for it. You're not taking that shot, And, okay, you're trying to protect Wimsatt, but a great way to build confidence in Gavin Wimsatt is to show you believe in him and say, hey, let's go get points before the end of the half and let's come up in a big moment here. This is a big moment for you. And they didn't give him really the chance to do that. And they got to close to midfield, kind of almost mistakenly. They didn't, and then they knelt down. So I'm not saying they should have thrown a Hail Mary in that situation. It was all leading up to that I have the gripe with. And I criticized them last week for, the third interception. I thought, throwing deep like that, maybe it was, Wimsatt making a bad decision for sure, throwing in double coverage, a jump ball like that. But also, at that point, when your quarterback makes 2 big mistakes, you need to ensure that, he gets back on track, that he's obviously frazzled. So I just thought either slants, screens, running the ball more. I just thought they did not protect him the way they should have in that game, letting him get that third interception, throwing downfield like that. Where today, I think it's the opposite. I think, he was playing well. The offense was playing well. They were running the ball. They had momentum. You got to play to win on the road. I think, I hate to say it, but it was like they were, playing to lose. Like, not playing to lose, not playing to win. And it drives me crazy because this game was for the taking. Michigan State, they were missing 8 players on defense, many of them key players. The offense had a good game, finally. And then, coaching decisions, penalties, defense not playing well, specialties, they just could not put it together. And a complete performance from this team would have been an absolute, without a doubt, win in this game. And I think this is one that, feels like they left on the table, that slipped away. And it's very frustrating, very frustrating. Again, positive signs, Wimsatt. Monunga I've always liked, and I would love to see him be more consistent in the run game. Aaron Young, he's the best running back pass catcher we've had in a while. He had that touchdown early. It was good to see him back in the mix. Johnny Langan had a good game, 5 catches on 6 targets for 70-something yards. He also scored a touchdown on the run. So that was good to see. I was happy to see him do well. Like I said, Shameen Jones made that great play. Cruikshank, I think, led them in receiving. So the offense had overall, other than all the offensive holding penalties, overall they played relatively well. They scored only 21 points, but it's funny, in most games, the offense, that's enough for the defense to win the game, and it didn't happen. So, there's a lot going on. I'm sorry if I missed anything. But frustrating loss for sure. 4-6, 1-6 in the Big Ten. You have Penn State coming in for senior day, and then you're at Maryland. There's only 2 weeks left, and only 2 chances for them to put it back together, put a complete performance together. Again, yes, I know people expected 4 wins this season. I predicted 5. Not expecting them to compete for a Big Ten title. But from a development standpoint, there's signs with players. From a team standpoint, they're still making mistakes with penalties. And I just think conservative play calling, it is what it is. And Rutgers lost to Michigan State in a game I think they should have won. So I think you chalk Michigan State and Nebraska up as 2 games they should have won. I know people count Iowa. I don't count Iowa. Yes, those 2 turnovers in the first half changed the game. But Rutgers didn't, Nebraska and Michigan State, I honestly feel they were better than. But credit to Michigan State, they won the game. Mel Tucker, gets his chop, and we wallow in misery, and it is what it is. Thanks for watching and listening, as always.